Warning! This video may contain excessive amount of dad-level humor. Prepare for bad jokes. Viewer discretion is advised, so watch responsibly. Proceed with caution and a sense of humor. You've been warned.
Greetings, adventures and foodies. Have you ever seen arrows that patches up people instead of pinning them down? No, you haven't seen that either this season? Well, let's go and change that, because I welcome you all to the realm of the Grove Ranger, where we're gonna be using our bow to heal everybody up to full health together with our wild growth and healing touch. And I really hope that this can give you all some inspiration for an alternative to the current icy spirit and penance and riptide mending tide meta that is right now. Because this is something that scales amazingly with gear and scales amazingly into endgame. So without further ado, well, you all know it. The auction house is there, Romy is there, so let's get to it. See you in a second. But before we go any further, I just want to say an enormous thank you for all the subscribers that subscribed to me in the past 3 weeks. I started this as a hobby, as many can see, just around late January. And here we are 3 weeks later with over 100 subscribers, which is something I didn't think would go that fast. Also the view counts on my videos and everything. I thought this would take at least 1 to 2 months more than it did. So again, a huge thank you for all the support that you guys have given me. I really hope that I can bring out more guides that's easy to follow and easy to copy, and just make it kind of like a plug and play style for you guys. So again, huge thank you, and without further ado, let's get straight back into the Grove Ranger action. And as we're now back in the game, here, as you can see, I'm starting to level up as we go about, and you should see a picture on your screen right about now with my level 1 abilities, card abilities and talent cards. For this time I made a big red square in the middle of the talent card section in the golden cards, and I'm gonna explain that whenever we get to the talent cards section. For the level 1 abilities here, as you can see, I picked up Auto Shot, Healing Touch, Aspect of the Hawk, Blessing of the Might, and the reason why is because Auto Shot, so we can actually shoot in between all the spell weaving and other shots that we use. We get Healing Touch in as kind of required for the, well, not required, but very recommended for the Grove Ranger, as you can get Grove Ranger stacks and fire off instant healing touches. Aspect of the Hawk for more attack power for range, as that scales very well with the medicinal sting, and Blessing of the Might, as it just gives us more agility, and we want to scale as much agility on this build as humanly possible. For the carded abilities, we went with Medicinal Sting, Effluence, Blooming Shot and Wild Growth. While Medicinal Sting, Blooming Shot and Wild Growth kinda are mandatory, if one could say, as they're kinda like the bread and butter of this build. You could go without Wild Growth, but I would not recommend that, as it's a core rotation in your build, so pick it up. And the Effluence is, it's just such a big healing burst whenever you need a cooldown. I really like it, so when you get into a tight spot, if you don't have your Grove Ranger stacks up or anything like, just fire off the Effluence and it have a minute cooldown just about, and it's gonna feel amazing for you, trust me. And whenever you fire it off, it increases the healing done by Medicinal Sting and Wild Growth, so it's just a win-win to have that spell. For the talent cards, I'm first gonna go over what I picked, which is what's not in the red box, and after that I'm gonna cover the red square / box, or whatever you like to call it, for what I'd actually recommend going for. So, first of all, the Grove Ranger itself is a spell that gives talent that gives a buff. So whenever you use a hunter shot, be it medicinal sting, blooming shot, which we can quickly cover. Medicinal sting scales of serpent sting, and blooming shot scales of arcane shot, which is the original. But Grove Ranger, just whenever you use a hunter shot in general, you get a Grove Ranger's buff stack. The Grove Ranger stack itself is something that gives 50% reduced cast time on healing touch. So when you have 2, it stacks up to 3 times. You can fire off a free healing touch. If you're using Wild Growth, it targets 1 more target per stack of Grove Ranger. So suddenly you can use a Wild Growth that's hitting a few more targets, and that's gonna feel amazing in raid healing. Trust me on that one. For the Grove Ranger's agility, you get 120% of the agility you have as ranged attack power, and 20% of your agility as healing power. And that's kind of like why you really want to just scale any agility on your gear, and you want to get as much as humanly possible. Grove Medicine is a buff for medicinal stings. Whenever your medicinal sting deals damage and they get Grove Medicine, they get the healing by medicinal sting, they also get healed by a buff called Grove Medicine. And those two are gonna be your bread and butter, and it's gonna be so much of your healing done. You always want to keep medicinal sting up on your target, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later in the video when I'm gonna showcase it. So for the last talents that I picked, Hippocratic Oath, it gives 20% of your melee attack power as your healing, but I found that not to be worth it in the start as a starting ability. There's better alternatives out there like Blessing of Divines, which just basically straight up heals people and often can be extremely good. So that's why I actually swapped that in this recommended talents. Of course, anything that goes like Overflow or anything that buffs healing touch in general, like the Living Sea talent, if you can get that in, stuff like that, I'd actually recommend that over Hippocratic Oath in my opinion, as it will help you more than what Hippocratic Oath have helped me, as it's just a bit more healing done for the other things. Nurturing Instinct, I only have it 1 out of 2, but I'd strongly recommend if you can use swap around with your Grove Medicine and Nurturing Instinct, or anything like. If you have Grove Ranger, move it down to your Golden and move Nurturing Instinct up if you can swap anyway to get that 2 out of 2, because the last 15% that you get from getting it from 1 out of 2 to 2 out of 2 is amazing. And for this one, this is where this gets wild, if one can say. Wild Growth gets a massive boost from Frenzied Growth. The way Frenzied Growth works is it targets 2 less people, but it deals 100% increased healing done. So, say you heal 1000. Now you heal 3000 as base, with the Frenzied Growth taking off 2 people. So instead of you healing 5 targets for 1000 each, that's 5000. Now you're hitting 3 targets for 1000 each, which is free, but suddenly you're getting the extra percentages of healing. So now you're healing 6000. So yeah, of course it's like a 20% increase, and that's fine and all, but what if I told you you could get back up to 6 targets again? Yeah, That's where the Grove Ranger comes in handy, and why I picked this talent, because suddenly with the Grove Ranger, if you have 3 stacks of the Grove Ranger buff, you hit more targets with your Wild Grove. So suddenly the Frenzied Grove, instead of hitting 2 less targets, it hits 1 more target and have a 100% increase in healing. So instead of healing, let's say if it heals for 1000 and normally hits 5, instead of 5000, now hits 6 target for 1000, so that's 6000, and yeah, you can double that up again, and you now have a Wild Growth. Instead of healing for 100%, it heals for like 120% ish. So yeah, it's just a humongous buff to it, and you would end up healing so much more with this than without it. So yeah, that's why I chose that. But I really can't stress enough, Hippocratic Oath we're gonna get into. It's nice to have, but it's not needed to have. You can roll with it, there's nothing wrong, but I'd really suggest anything like Overflow or anything like it. Blessing of the Divines, if you have it as golden card, it's gonna help you a lot more than the little bit extra of healing done. So that's my take on it. Moving on, you should see a new picture on your screen right about now, and I actually made it a bigger this time. I know it blurs out the thing in the background, the actual leveling, but I did this so it's easier to actually see the picture. If you want me to keep the leveling in the background, let me know and I'll crop it down a bit for the next video that I'll make. Leave it in the comments below what your thoughts are. Also, what your thoughts on the talent cards that I carded for we start here. Let me know if you do anything completely different with the Grove Ranger. But I'm gonna go from my recommended talents here, and not what I picked, and that's why Hippocratic Oath is right here. So let's get on with it. And as in right here, I mean in the epic section, if you look at the top. I'm gonna go over with a new thing. If in the top left corner you can see gear and primary stat, and that's kind of important because when scaling agility, some might think, well, I'm just gonna go agility. Well, the Grove Ranger enchantments kinda, and talents in this case, non-enchantments, kinda need you to be spirit and not Aggie. So you have to spec spirit for this as a healer also. So for the gear you want Aggie, spell power and intellect, and spellcaster weapon. For my bow, I didn't go into any high mythic to get a completely crazy bow with a lot of Aggie or gun or anything like that. I just bought Rock the Law from the radar recommendations and went with that, and that's so fine for a beginner entry level for this spec. So that's my recommendations for the actual gear and build itself. The primary stat is spirit, as mentioned, and for the abilities that we've chosen, or I'd say wishlist, let's call it what it is, I'd say buffs are the least. Things you should keep: any movement skill, of course, as always. You could opt for a interrupt, but if you got time for interrupting, well, the tank is not pulling enough. That's my opinion. So yeah, chop, move along. Chimera Shot is a very nice one, and the reason why I put Chimera Shot here is because whenever you get a medicinal sting on the target, you have to keep in mind, like, medicinal sting is actually serpent sting, and Chimera Shot refresh Chimera. Chimera Shot reset serpent sting. So there's no reason to keep casting medicinal sting on the same target. You can just use Chimera Shot on the same target and dish out a bit more damage, together with keeping your medicinal sting up. So that's my suggestion. If you have it, use it in your rotation. As it's not a rare or anything, normally it's pretty common to roll, so it shouldn't be that hard in the first couple tries of your prestige or the rolling section. The tranquility buff is, the tranquility spell is always a huge lifesaver. It's just one of those, you use it and you just let the magic happens. It's amazing for healing, and as we're scaling nature healing anyways, it's just a win-win for everything. My suggestion is use the influence on the tank if everything is dire, and then go straight into a tranquility after that. For the legendary abilities that I'd suggest, Earth Living Weapon. Always, if you can't get Earth Living, get Flame Tongue, keep Flame Tongue or Rock Biter if you get those, but Earth Living all the way for this. I'd say if you can get into, I mixed up the numbers here, I can see. But if you can get a Tame Elemental or Dragon, and then get the Dragon or Elemental talents, this is totally best for it. For abilities to keep. I'd even up to say the Blessing of the Divines that I linked in talents earlier could be swapped out for the Elemental or the Dragon talents, Dragonkin talents, and get a Green Whelp or Water Elemental to just help the healing done. They're crazy good with their passive, their small healing abilities that they use. Chain Heal, I put a 1 in as it kinda needs Overflowing Cultivation, Flowing, or Transcendental Embrace to be good. But let's get into that whenever we get over to this section. Yeah, Revitalize, you don't need that if you get Infused Arcane Shot, but let's get into that when you get Infused Arcane Shot. Revitalize is just whenever you use Wild Growth, Healing Touch, there's a chance to get mana back to you, and it's just a nice little thing. And now for a very important disclaimer. Do not ever, never, ever get Hydra Sting and reroll it if you get it. You don't have to, but it's kind of like, if you ask me what's the one thing you want to reroll, that's Hydra Sting. The reason being, Medicinal Sting can only be on one target at a time. Period. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but from my understanding, it's not a bug. It's how it's supposed to be. But you can't hit multiple targets with Medicinal Sting. If you use Hydra Sting, it's the last target that get hit that gets the Medicinal Sting, and you really don't want that. You want to control which target has the Medicinal Sting. I'd always suggest the most beefy boy in the pack that you're fighting, put Medicinal Sting on that guy and not everything else. For the rare section here, I chose Exposed Weakness, Hawkeye, Ranged Weapon Specialization. They're kind of rare, you don't need them, but they're nice to have. For the epic session, we went with Hippocratic Oath. As mentioned, it does give some healing power, so I'm not going to scrap it completely. It's still nice to have. It's just not talent carded worthy to have. Then I chose Healing Seeds, and of course that also require Living Seeds, so yeah, get those two in combination. Lethal Shot, Hunting Party, Empowered Touch, and Aspect Mastery. Aspect Mastery of course require you to have picked Aspect of the Hawk in the start, but this just gives an immense amount of ranged attack power for your Aspect of the Hawk. And remember, Medicinal Sting scales with Serpent Sting modifiers, so as Serpent Sting, it scales with attack power, ranged attack power. The more ranged attack power, the more damage you deal with Medicinal Sting, and the more you heal with Medicinal Sting. So get more ranged attack power. That's it, basically. And you can also get it by getting more agility, and that's just where you just start scaling up. The more you have, the better it becomes. Be hit capped. I can't stress this enough. Be hit capped. You don't want to miss your medicinal sting and have to start using a new global cooldown for medicinal sting. So be hit capped here. It's so important to be hit capped, because otherwise it's just gonna be whenever you miss it, and mid fight, if you don't chamber shot in time and you're confused and your medicinal sting it miss, you don't see it because it's hectic, you miss it again and you suddenly drop so much in healing down and you wipe your raid on Raggy because you didn't see that your main healing ability wasn't up. So yeah, be hit capped. Do yourself a favor. For the legendary part, we went with, I just write nature healing. There are so many that nature healing talent that increase your base nature healing, druidic healing, nature healing, anything that gives you healing over time buffs, basically. Then of course we went with the dragon elemental talents as mentioned, and then anything that gives you healing power. As remember, we're going Agi, spell power, intellect. You want also some kind of intellect on your gear, and you going for a spirit primary stat. You'll also have spirit. There's a bunch of talents that also give spirit as healing power, intellect as healing power, so go for those basically. Other than that, you want improved serpent sting, in this case improved stings, and then you want infused arcane shot. This is like arcane concentration on steroids, period. If you have this, you're never gonna run basically. This will keep up your mana for days to come, and it's one of the best ways to keep up your mana. And it's I believe the main enchant is called something like Arc Aim Concentration, something like that. Before it was split up, but now it's called Infused Arcane Shot, with the part that gives chance when you use hunter shots to get the next ability or spells are free to cast. So yeah. Then moving on, anything that goes like Overflow or Blessing of the Divines or any of the other legendary talent healings. I can't go over everything in this video because then it would be an hour-long video for this, and if you guys want to see me do a long video one time where I just sit in the game, I talk about every kind of like legendary and epic ability, epic talent, why they're good for healing, and I'm only talking, I could talk an hour non-stop for why each and every combo is just crazy good and how you can just make some insane healing builds this season if you put enough marks into it. So yeah, for my suggestion, if you can hit the I just hit the mic, very sorry, but if you can hit the overflowing cultivation, flowing, those three, you're already set for life. If you on top of that get transcendental embrace, I can't never say that without stuttering, then this is your goal. Then this is the build you don't want to respec at any time, ever. Those four in combination are so crazy strong with your healing touch that it's not even funny. Healing touch, you heal with it, it spreads to a nearby target. You heal with it again, spread to nearby target. And you do that 3 to 4 times, I can't remember which. Also, I believe they just changed it to only requiring 3 times. Whenever you hit 3 times, if you crit, you get a buff. And this is just non-crits. If you start then using chain heal, when you have these buff, the chain heal's gonna bounce like 5 or 7 times something crazy high, and it's gonna be hitting like a truck for healing done. Like, this is just gonna be a chain heal on steroids, basically. So yeah, if you get the overflowing cultivation and flowing, it's really gonna match in very nice with the instant healing touches that you can get off from the Grove Ranger buff. So it's just a nice filler to just pop in a chain heal once in a while if you have this combo. Other than that, anything that's healing related that you can use for healing touch or wild growth, or just unhealing, basically, ranged, druid, anything like that. So yeah, that's my take on the Grove Ranger, my recommendations for it. And if you have any talent that you're thinking, oh, you missed this one, why didn't you talk about it? Please leave them in the comments so you can help others and me actually understand better on how it works. So yeah, without further ado, I'm now gonna show you guys some actual footage, because normally this is where I would showcase what I rolled, and we're going to get to that in just a second, but is also where I would normally showcase on a DPS dummy with my builds, but that's kind of irrelevant this time as we're healer, so it's kind of hard to showcase what we can actually do with it. So I'm gonna find a dungeon, and just a mythic dungeon, and I'm gonna talk what I use while I do it with overlays. So if I sound a bit different, it's because I will most likely record it at another time. But let's get straight into a dungeon sequence after I just show you here what I rolled. So first of all, I spent around 25k marks on this build, and this is what we came up with. I did roll a bunch of hit talents, and I did actually get some of the nature healing here that I've been talking about. Like this one, healing spell power as of your total spirit, and then the Victor Vol nature healing. Then I got some crit here. I got things like arcane bullets to weave in for fun if I have nothing to heal. I got the flame tongue weapon. I got things like rebirth, tranquility. I got brilliance aura. I got a few buffs here and there. Then I got the let's see here, improved aspect of the hawk, and I actually went ahead and said hiding down here, aspect mastery, which give increased attack power by 80%. And I didn't feel like I rolled an extremely well built. This is just what I rolled, so yeah, I'd totally say this is possible to roll with the marks that I spend on it. Be aware that I'm getting like, let's just say most likely with the first 30 to 40k, and then I spend around 25k. So expect this is what you can get out from 60-ish to 80k marks point. This is kind of the build that you can expect to have. So without further ado, I'm gonna try and queue up here for a dungeon, and let's see what we can find. So see you whenever I find one. And while we wait for the dungeon here, I'm quickly gonna go over my mystic enchants that we've chosen for the build. I didn't remove those 3 as I've been scouting out for a improved serpent sting, but I haven't been able to get one off the auction house yet. There haven't been any available, so That's a bit shame. But next to that, we went with some Spirit as spell power, Intellect as spell power, some mana regen, some hit-based talents, some nature and holy reduction spell here just for the nature reduction, and I went for the healing spell. The Aggie as extra healing from Nurturing Instinct, which is basically taking this talent from 1 out of 2 to 2 out of 2. So yeah, as you can see, if you get this for the last one, you're suddenly having 45% of your Aggie as healing, and together with the Growth Ranger's agility, you're suddenly having 65 instead of 45. So that's where it starts to get really nice. So yeah, whenever the last DPS, there we go, is join. I can't join while falling, so there we go. Right, let's buff the guys up, and as you can see, so whenever we're shooting here, as you can see, I'm just gonna accidentally I shot at the target, but let's move this down here. But I'm just gonna keep popping, and we're medicinal stinging, so we're keeping it up. We have a tank that's doing fantastic amount of self-healing, and of course you can do that. And this is so nice for moving and healing. Medicinal sting on the big boy, and you just spam blooming. Normally, some people would argue that you should wait for the nature's power. I don't. It's a nice starter, but you really don't have to. So, yeah, that's about the build. I really hope you like it. I'm not gonna finish this dungeon with everyone just sitting and watching, so I'm probably gonna just stop just around here. But as you can see, if it is that people are losing health, they should easily be able to heal 1000 healing point a second, as the alone blooming shot can almost do that on global cooldown. So yeah, I hope you liked the build and the theme of it. If you want to make one, make sure to follow for more guides, and other than that, make sure that you check out the talent section for the recommended abilities that I've suggested, and other than that, stay legendary.